Welcome, everyone. I'm Dr. James, and my guest today is Ell Graniel of TrueSpeak. And I just want to put this little banner up. This is Lessons for 2022. And I'm a transformation strategist. One of my things, my background history was being a chiropractor. And you can see all our past shows on my Facebook page, which is under Unparalleled Fulfillment. You'll see it also in the post. And finally, you can always reach out to me at jamespretz@gmail or text me on the phone. And Elle, you'll be able to reach, and I'll put these up again. You can reach her at info@truespeak.us. So with that said, I just want to introduce our guest today, a very special friend, longtime friend. We've known each other for almost 3 decades. And even though we look so young, you probably find it hard to believe it could be that long. And we got to know each other by doing similar work or taking the same workshops and training because we were both interested in our own personal development, but also in serving and helping others. And Elle has been the author so far of 3 best-selling Amazon books, as well as she has a great program geared for, she'll talk about the population that she works with. For me, my interest has been working with, since I was a chiropractor, helping people see the connection between their physical complaints and how it expresses itself from mental and emotional issues and all that. So with that said, I'm just going to turn it over to Elle to just kind of expand a little bit more, and then we'll start our conversation.
Oh, okay. Thank you. Yes. So, yeah, we've known each other for decades. It's been a great relationship. Highs and lows, but way more highs. Lots of gratitude, lots of hugs and laughs. And, for me, it's all about people being seen and heard, because when you feel seen and heard, then you feel appreciated for the most part.
True.
And then, of course, love is the big umbrella over all of that. And that's where this work with Dr. Libby Adams and the International Academy of Self-Knowledge, has taken me on this fabulous journey. And, you and I have been there, and we had different journeys, definitely. So
Right.
when I first came on, I grew up in poverty, trailer park, like no hope. Nobody went to college. Nobody had any expectations for
Right.
anything. And, I managed to get out. I wanted to get out, managed to pay my way through college. And I did all the self-help stuff in the 90s, right? So Dr. Wayne Dyer and Zig Ziglar and Earl Nightingale and all of that. And there was a shift in me, because at that time I learned that I have the power. It taught me that I have the control. I make the decisions. It's not my poverty. It's not my father. It's not the government. It's not any of that, that it's within me. That was really cool. But then I'm going to say, hit a wall, meaning like, I had the affirmations. I, kept the journals,
Right.
But my life had reached this level. And then I started doing the work with the International Academy of Self-Knowledge. And then things just boom, because knowing is not enough. You got to get in there and rewire, right, those old stories and those old pathways, and so that you can make room for the new stuff, and
Right.
the new journey. Right. And so when I was just getting started with this work, my husband, my family, my friends, people were saying, what are you up to? You look so different. You look radiant. You look, you're bouncy, or you're happy, or you're whatever, not that I was not those things, but I was more of those things. And, so they wanted to know what my beauty secrets were. And so, but still, I'm like barely 30. And that's when I realized it's this work. It's the transformational meditation work that is lifting the years of, baggage and trauma and everything, and clearing my temple to be more radiant and able to shine. And so once I made that connection, I knew that this was going to be my life's work.
Awesome. You mentioned love as part of the process. And I read something the other day, a Buddhist principle, that the basis of love, or the expression of love, comes from understanding. and it's about understanding ourselves as well as others.
Yeah.
So our love, because so this whole thing with personal development, self-development, all that, it is about understanding. And as you pointed out so eloquently, Elle, is it has to be applied. It's not just understanding it. To me, though, understanding does mean you apply it. Because if you understand it, it's like, yeah, well, then of course I will apply it. It's not an easy road. When I got, what brought me into this work is I grew up in a family where everything was given to me, and I had a lot of opportunities, but there was a lot of dysfunction, which I'm sure many people can relate to. And it's not about blaming. It's just going, oh, this isn't the most resourceful way to behave. But, no one knew any different. And then I got introduced. So before I talk about 12-step experience, I went with alcoholism, with sex addiction, relationship addictions, like, oh, I need somebody to love me, all that type of thing. And then I got into 12-step groups, and I first started with ACA, which is Adult Children of Alcoholics. And then, but there I was told, if you have a problem with alcohol, you don't belong here. You got to deal with your alcohol. And that was a revolving door for me for probably a decade, where it was like I'd get sober for a while and then I drop out. And it wasn't until I started doing the work that Elle and I do as part of a core of our work, which is the Transformational Meditation introduced through the International Academy of Self-Knowledge and Dr. Libby Adams. That is when I got underneath the behaviors, into the beliefs, into the thoughts, and it was changing them that changed me. And so, not that we don't have battles that we still must wage, because that's what life is. This is my paradigm for why we came here to this planet, is to learn about all this stuff, just so we can experience it and make breakthroughs and to help others. So with that said, I would like to ask you, Elle, what was one of, if you don't mind sharing and being put on the spot, but what was a big breakthrough in terms of doing transformational meditation and this work that really made a big shift, like some of the beliefs that you started to let go of? If you can remember, because I remember you saying, I don't even remember what the problem was. But if you perhaps can.
Thanks for reminding me of that. That's the beauty of the work. When you clear the issue, you literally clear it, right? And
Right.
So mine, the very first one that I did was fear of confrontation, right? Being raised around domestic violence, right? So just don't confront and then you'll never get hurt, right? And so those are all programs keeping us safe, right? But it's not true for us anymore. And so when I was done with that process, Dr. Libby Adams was asking me, what are your thoughts now around the work we just did? And I'm like, yeah, so I used to have this fear of, the word was gone. And I'm not kidding. It took years before I could say the word confrontation without having to really dig deep. It's tip of the tongue, so really that was, one of my big ahas. And then the other one was like, I just, it makes sense. This was before I was getting into all the neuroscience that I brought to what I do now. But like, I made the index cards, right? I went to all those self-improvement workshops and I had my affirmations and I'm healthy and I'm wealthy and I'm this and I'm that, and I was doing everything and nothing was really happening. Or it would be 2 steps forward, 1 step back or whatever. And then once I started doing the work, because what happens is you can make a card that says I'm beautiful and you can read it every day, but there's parts of you that will never believe this. and they're not on
Right.
board, so they're blocking the message. And so you've got to clear those old thoughts and programs and labels and things to be able to. Affirmations won't work until you can believe that they're possible and they're true. So if there's any little part of you, when you say I'm beautiful, if there's any little part that goes, who are you talking about? Then you can read that card 24/7 and nothing's going to change. And so that was my big aha, was that
Mm.
through clearing those old processes, I can put up a card that says I'm beautiful, and I can read it and I can just feel it in my heart. It feels really good.
Yes.
But it didn't used to be that way. So that was the big one for me. You've got to clear those blocks, those thoughts, those voices, all that kind of stuff for any affirmation to ever work for you.
That's so true, because you know, if you're honest about it, when you say something, you know if it's true or not. And it's there's an energy about it as well.
Mm-hmm.
And so we can break boards, jump up and down at these conferences and just feel like we're making these incredible breakthroughs. But about day 3, day 4 after, we're like sinking back. In fact, research shows that by the end of 1 week after those workshops, if we're not doing any more serious work, we're about 10% of what we did at that workshop. And it's like, wow. And within 6 months, they say it's zip. There's, so for one, what that tells me is it's so important for us to be lifelong learners, to always, but I didn't want to say learners, even though I said it, but I was going to say applicators, but that sounds like something you put on, but like appliers or whatever, though. But we have to do this stuff. Like he says, just do it. And it doesn't matter if we fall on our face. It's like, I remember someone saying that when they die, that they would rather die climbing the mountain than being down in the valley looking up and going, oh, I wish I had tried. It's just that we've put the effort in, and that's, I don't know, there's just something that when I hear that, it's like, yes, that I did something, right? I mean, that's how I feel, that we did something. Now, I wanted to ask you also, what are some of the things that you do now in addition when you're working with people?
Right. So it's funny because I never lead with transformational meditation because it makes so many people go, I can't meditate. I'm too smart. My brain never shuts out, so like there's all this, again, parts blocking you from, so I never lead with that. I lead as being a cognitive coach, right? What do you want? How do you get there? And who can help you?
Right.
And then inevitably that, my clients will start saying, oh, this is where it always goes to hell in a handbasket, or this is where everything screws up. Or so then I go, okay, now it's time, you're ready now for this process. And so then they're more open to, because we've done all the traditional things that aren't scary, that people are used to, and so I'm cognitive first, unless somebody's very spiritual and they're ready to just connect with their true source and let's just get to business, but that's unfortunately, that's a farther and few between. But I'm willing to start with the basics, the foundation, right? Because you still need cognitive. Because it's not all, your higher power does not solve all your problems and do all your work for you and everything. You got to get in there and still do the work. But it's important that you know what work matters.
Yes. Well, Napoleon, what came to my mind when you were talking about that was Napoleon Hill. He talks about you have to have a desire, and then you have to have action, and you have to have a plan. So it's like the plan and the action, that's that cognitive type of stuff. It's just you put it down on paper. This is what I'm going to do on Tuesday. And then But the desire is as they say, if you want to know someone's desire, look at their results. So it's like they can be saying as loud as they can. They can have a billboard up saying, I am a billionaire, but they don't have a nickel in their pocket.
Right.
And it's because there's competing desires or voices that we call them,
Mhm.
or in our the terminology that we've used is little eyes, eyes
Mhm.
as opposed to the big eye, which is our true selves, right?
Yeah.
And it's those little eyes. It's like the devil on the shoulder type of thing. I picture it that way too. That's just whispering, no, you can't. No, you can't. You don't
Mhm.
really want to, or, oh, that's too hard, or,
Mhm.
oh, I don't want to do all that work. And it's like, well, okay, see where that gets you, and,
Yeah.
there was a great question I came across the other day, which was, if nothing changed during the next year, would
Mhm.
you be happy with
Mhm.
where you are? And it's what that requires is to take a look at where am I, right?
Mhm.
We can't know where we're going unless we know where we are. And
Mhm.
then from there, we can determine how to get where we want to be. Because if we don't change, we know we get, as they say, more of the same stuff.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I love Zig Ziglar, and one of his favorite quotes, or one of mine of his, is a rut is just a grave with the ends kicked out. Because people like to use the Einstein one, like insanity is doing the same thing over and
Yeah.
over again.
Right.
So it's a little same idea, right? Little different quote on that. And I love that what you said is really powerful. So everybody go back and listen to that again and write it down. If nothing changed in a year, how would I be? Because the thing a lot of motivational folks like to say is live every day as though it's your last. And I am not a fan of that line of thinking at all, because if I knew it was my last day, James, I'm telling you, I'd be drinking champagne and driving a motorcycle and running into the mall. I don't know, I'd just be doing whatever. I'd just be however much I could pack into 24 hours. Well, you can't live your life that way every day.
Right.
So, but I do think of it as I desire that my life is a legacy. And so
Mm.
every year layers on to what that looks like, who it touches, and the ripple effect that it leaves or starts actually. So I like to think more about living a legacy than living a life day by day, because every day is a gift. I've lost
Right.
people overnight, and it can happen to any one of us anytime.
Right.
But we can't live in fear like that. But we can live knowing that every day is precious,
Yes.
and the day we wake up, it's a gift. And what are we going to do today? Even if it's just one thing towards the legacy,
Right.
or maybe it's honoring ourselves, and going to Hawaii and swimming in the beach, that's part of the legacy, when we
Yes.
talk
Elle
about
just came back from the beach.
that's why I'm so radiant, right?
When I was taking this class and it used Patrick Carnes's book on A Gentle Path Through the 12 Steps. And Patrick Carnes is noted primarily for his work in sex addiction, sex compulsion. And in it, there's this meditation. And it was, what if you went to the doctors and the doctor said you had 1 year to live?
Mm-hmm.
And so what the meditation is like, it took you, okay, now you have 11 months left. What would you be doing? But it basically was looking at, what would you be doing? Who would you want to be surrounded by? What
Mm-hmm.
things need to make amends? All this stuff. And then at the very end, the question is, so why aren't you doing that now? And it
Yeah.
was such a great question, because it's like, if this is your dream, if you only had 1 more year, and this is what a perfect 1 year would be, why aren't you doing it, or
Mm-hmm.
working towards it? So when you had said that if this was the last day, and I thought, yeah, it's like, yeah, I would be calling people, being with people, all that stuff. And but it tells you that's what's important. So that needs to be in one's life, that we are taking that time to reach out. So before we end our conversation, I would like to know, what would be one action step that you would support our listeners to take, to perhaps live that life they want to.
Yeah. Thanks for asking that. Oh, look, and you popped it up. Yeah, you didn't even know what I was going to say. This was all extemporaneous, impromptu. It is literally, we are not alone unless we choose to be. Whatever you're going through, someone else can relate. They've been there, they've survived it, or whatever. Whatever you want, somebody has it. So when you reach out with me and spend time with me and I help you develop your plan, right? What do you want? How are you going to get there, and who can help you? That's the one. And it's that easy. You remembering that you are on a big planet, and that people are here to love and appreciate and support you. And sometimes we have to dig a little deep to find that person.
Right.
But they're there. They are there. So reach out.
Oh, that's great. I love that. And I reached out to Ell last week and said, let's do something together. So one of our intentions is that we do this on a regular basis, where we talk about these things, because we're both about being of service. And that is part of our legacy, also part of our love in action, all those type of things. It's just because we want the world to be a better place. That's as simple as it is. It begins with us, but then it's like each person we meet. So I want to thank you so much, Ell, for this. It's mahalo.
Oh, thank you. Mahalo, aloha, exactly. And anyone watching this, reach out to us, and if you're brave, put it in the chat. What would you like us to talk about next time?
Oh, excellent idea. Thank you, Ell.
You're welcome.
All right, everyone. Well, this is that's how you can reach out to me at jamespretz@gmail.com, or text me. I think it's great to text me, because then I can get right back to you, because people love text. They read their texts. So anyway, with that said, I want to encourage everyone, I'm looking for the thing, to come back and listen to more lessons for 2022. You can find them, there we go, on my Facebook page. And you'll find all our contact information in the post that goes with this. So again, aloha, everyone, and much love to all.
Aloha. Thanks, James.